Hi, I'm Tom Sullivan, Executive Editor of HIMSS Media, and joining me today is Scott Snyder, Co-founder, President, and Chief Strategy Officer of Mobiquity. To start things off here, Mr. Snyder, would you tell us a little bit about Mobiquity?
Sure, Tom. Mobiquity was co-founded over 2.5 years ago, really to drive innovation in large enterprises using the power of mobility. And we've been able to do that through really putting together all the disciplines that go from strategy and innovation to user-centered design, which is a really key piece of mobile, to architecture, deep integration, and building the apps, of course, as well as analytics. And it's not just about the app, it's all the other things around it. And in order to really unlock the full potential and drive high-impact solutions, we put all those together in Mobiquity.
Which is an excellent segue to my next question. Why is it that large healthcare providers need to innovate around mHealth today?
I think part of it is the fact that the digital consumer is the digital patient, and they're interacting the way they want, where they want, anywhere, whether it's in a Walmart, whether it's in a CVS Minute Clinic, whether it's out interacting or checking into a hotel. They've adopted behaviors that are comfortable for them. And healthcare providers haven't always acted that way. We need to come to healthcare and deal with all the special rules. So healthcare needs to learn to come to the consumers and interact the way they want. And I think that takes a different kind of thinking and mentality that's user-centered, but also takes advantage of all the tools that consumers are comfortable with.
Sure. So following on that, why do you think it's the companies that are coming from outside of the healthcare realm that are having the most success there in mHealth today?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of a couple things. It touches on that last point that companies that really get the digital consumer, whether it's Nike or Fitbit or grocery stores that understand how they eat or how they work out, may have a better angle in some ways to add to this other piece of the puzzle that consumers, that's part of this overall view of the patient. I think the second thing is companies like ours that spend our time really understanding the journey of the user as they traverse in and out of healthcare and looking at that bigger picture. It's not just when I'm in a hospital or when I'm at the doctor, it's all the things I do in between. And then I think the third thing is we have all these amazing low-cost tools that are out there in the market that consumers engage with today, whether it's a smartphone or a wearable device or a social network. And it's an opportunity to take advantage of all that installed base now, and how does healthcare tap into that versus using their own proprietary systems and have their own rules.
Which touches on one of everybody's favorite topics today, that being patient engagement, of course. We all know that there are hundreds of thousands of mobile health apps out there, but adoption is still spotty. What are some of the reasons adoption is spotty, and what are the barriers that need to be overcome?
Yeah, it's a great point. In fact, I think I saw a stat that about 50% of healthcare apps are abandoned after about 6 months. And really, I think the experience, or that fall off, really probably is attributed to a couple things. One is utility. Is it actually solving a real problem for the patient? Sure. Or, great if I can log information, but it doesn't allow me to talk to my doctor. That's not helping me. The second is access to data. So I think there's a lot of really cool, sexy apps out there. But if they don't have access to the patient's health record, or they can't pull in the right kind of data, so it might be great that you have a coaching app for diabetes, but if it doesn't know that I'm on other forms of medication, or I'm have a very active fitness regimen, and it doesn't make tailored recommendations, then the user's not going to want to adopt it, right? And I think the third piece is really just getting into the journey of the user and really understanding how they live. So what we call user-centered design, and designing that compelling experience. I think a lot of them have fallen short. They think it's okay to just throw dashboards or data at the patient instead of providing what's relevant to them.
Sure. So now, in your opinion, is there and does there need to be sort of a killer app for mHealth?
I don't think it's going to be one killer app. In fact, a lot of the companies that have tried to build that killer app from scratch have failed because A, it's expensive to build a brand and get to the end consumer, sure. And B, there's not just one solution. And I think we see a lot of great point solutions out there, but there's not a really holistic view that says, okay, how do I take all these little pieces together, whether it's a therapy or a drug somebody's on, and combine it with their fitness or their nutrition regimen or even their social activity. And I think we're trying to stitch together solutions at Mobiquity. We call it our behavior change platform that takes really this holistic view that there's not one right solution, but how do we integrate all these pieces together?
So as a final question here, what are you most looking forward to seeing here at the mHealth Summit?
I'm looking forward to seeing the ball advance on several fronts. One is that people are overcoming the traditional barriers. Security and privacy have been really, I think, in some ways a barrier, but also an excuse. And I think patients have shown that if you can show them the benefit, they're willing to share their data. But first you got to give them a great experience and give them utility. And I think if we all manage that privacy very carefully and don't abuse it, I think we can unlock more value. I think the second thing is the reimbursement models, like coming up with clever ways to deal with the fact that not all this stuff's going to get reimbursed out of the gate. Who's going to pay for it, whether it's the employer or the health consumer, or are there other clever ways that a pharma company or pharmacy can really invest in these and get a payback or a benefit for the patient? Because we know there's plenty of benefit out there, it's just somebody's got to pay for it. And I think the thing is really how do we scale these things? We've got a few million devices here, a few 100,000 patients being remote monitored. How do we get those into the tens of millions where they can really put a dent in this big multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar healthcare problem? So
payment reform, the gateway to the next generation of healthcare in America.
That's right.
Thank you for your time, and thanks for joining me here at the mHealth Summit.
Thanks, Tom.